Welcome to Two Coaches. I'm Travis. This is Baja. Today we have a guest, someone that I played with growing up, Joey Spivack. Joey was fortunate enough to have good opportunities and take advantage of them, played professionally and everything. So tell us a little bit about where you played.
Well, I was gonna go to St. John's and turned it down and ended up going to Belgium for 2 years. More of an experience than anything else. Kind of being 17 years old was a little bit rough, but I made some great friends who are still friends now. Good experience. Realized I don't know the game tactically as well as I thought I did.
Yeah.
Not actually at all. And then I went to England, which I have to admit was the best time of my life. Living in Leeds, playing at a club like Guiseley, going on trial at Huddersfield Town, just being not given an opportunity because not having a passport. I was a little bit rough, and then that's when I made the move to Finland. Was there for 2 years at PS Kemi Kings. Great experience. Rough with the culture, but in the sense of how they handle people. But then I went to Iceland, played for 2 clubs in Iceland, had an amazing time, amazing experience, and amazing country. And then my company grew with my brother and I, and so I made the educated choice of growing the company.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we'll talk about his company more as the vlog continues. But today's topic is it okay for players to yell at their teammates? So you can interpret that however you want. I know we have a difference of opinion here. Me and Joey grew up playing together a little bit, so we definitely share an opinion. So what do you think, Baja? Should players yell at teammates? Is it okay to yell at teammates?
Okay, so as a player, obviously I did, but from a coaching perspective, I do feel like at some point you need to crack down on it because,
What is that point, though?
It's situational then. That's what I think he's really talking
you know,
about.
it is situational, but at the same time, like, you don't want certain players and their creativity to kind of like feel almost
Constricted.
Yeah, exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And you want the player to be able to blossom in a free environment because even when you're playing at a higher level, I feel like, and this is where Joey's experience will definitely come into play, is, if someone's messing up, that player's probably not going to make it anyway. So I feel like, let the coach kind of worry about those issues and you just worry about yourself, right? So even if, let's say, you're open outside the box and a player loses the ball dribbling in and you're wide open for a shot, I mean, you can scream all you want, but at the end of the day, the coach is going to recognize that and that player might not make it, let's say, if you're playing at a higher level. So is there really a need to kind of like not worry about yourself and worry about other
But
players?
don't you think that it's different? First of all, I think it's different to hear from your peers than your coach. And I think that it's important to be able to take criticism from both. And I think that it's also important to do it with the intention of making your team better, making the players better, having that competitive atmosphere, not taking it personal. And quick story, and I know I told you last night because I gave him like a quick introduction of who you are. The first time we ever played together, I don't even remember how old we were, maybe like 15, that we were really playing together on the same team.
Yeah, and only for a little bit, right?
Yeah, it was for
transition.
It was for a small amount of time, and the first time, we linked up pretty good. We got along right off the bat, and you let me have it in training for doing something, and it helped me a lot. And
Right.
it wasn't taken personally, and it didn't bother me. But you let me have it. I mean, like, you really ripped into me, and it felt okay to do the same to you.
Yeah.
I think it was always...
It's standards, though, isn't it?
Listen,
it's where
but
I hold
we
myself
also,
to.
I mean, there was times, of course, that we butt heads, and sometimes it goes a little bit too
Passion,
far.
man, passion.
And you can't...
That's what I
I don't want to take that passion away from players.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
my
yeah.
point.
Right,
Like, I
and
think...
I'm not disagreeing with that. But on that note, not every player would have reacted the way you did, and I think that's the point.
Yeah.
I'm
But don't
trying
you
to
think
make.
that
But
a
that's
coach-
coaching. But
And-
what I call that is that's oh my god, I call it like a player management.
Right,
Right.
it is. And
Massively
and
player
it's funny
management.
because when you go for your higher coaching licenses, it's actually more about man management versus coaching.
Mhm.
But on that note, I just feel like, Travis, fortunately had that mentality where he reacted positively.
But I wasn't born with it. I mean,
You might have developed that, but at the
I
same
developed
time,
it
people
because
develop
of my...
differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I played always in atmospheres that was okay, that was embraced.
Right.
You
So
know, that's
players
what
that
made
maybe
me okay with it.
Right, and what's tough with that is if a player didn't maybe have that mentality, they wouldn't have made it in your environment.
But it is... But, I mean, this
See, you
is-
don't care
and
about
it-
that, like you.
Well, because...
You know what I mean? It's like, well, those are the weak ones. Maybe,
Yeah, but it's
right?
like,
But
see,
not.
I'm on both sides because when I was a player, I looked at it differently than when I was a coach because now that I'm player managing, I look at the player that's doing it versus the player that's receiving it. But
Right.
so if you think about this, I tell my kids, a mistake on the field is a two-way street. And then what I mean by, so say I'm passing you the ball. If you don't speak to me, right, and my head's down, because anything you do technical, your eyes are on the ball.
Right.
Don't get it confused. Your eyes have to be on the ball. You only peek up at certain points. It triggers, right? A trigger is communication. So if you don't communicate to me, that's your fault. But it's also my fault for never picking my head up and seeing that.
Right.
So I always say, like, okay, I have to take stick from you saying, pick your head up, find the pass situation with the kid. But then you have to be able to say, well, you didn't talk to me.
Right.
So I didn't have that trigger. And especially at a younger age, since they're watching the ball so focused technically, it's going to be a rarity that they pick their head up. So they need to think about it. Communication in the game has gone downhill. They talk, oh my God, they're blabbermouths off the field. And then they get on the field, they don't talk. And it upsets me. And I think that's why communication is everything. If there's no communication, there's always going to be a clash. But that's what we had.
I agree.
That's what we had,
agree. But I think, and that's where I think it's really important is because, you know, if I say something to you and then you say something back to me, you know, we have it that 5-10 second. It's not usually going to come across very nice, but without that communication afterwards too, you don't develop further than that. Like that mistake is over and done with, and you haven't improved on it. Where when you say something, you know, now it's out in the open, and you do work to improve it.
But it's also mentality though. We also grew up that second place was awful.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
you did too. So the difference is, and this is.
But that's weakness, mentally. I'm telling you, that's weakness. Like, in the sense of accept, like accountability.
By the way, before he keeps going, just for everybody that's watching, he to get him on, it was easy because he saw the participation trophy won and just hit me up right away.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was like I loved it.
It's only because my father made me think that let me know that I'm talented, but let me know that without hard work, without proving myself constantly, without grinding, without working, that my talent was worthless.
Right.
So the problem is now everybody's kid's talented. No, like even this dude, Jordan, Kobe, look at all these guys, man. They practice 800 hours, whatever, you know what I mean? Like practice all these hours and to like kind of fuel the talent.
Right.
Now it's like, oh, my kid's talented, so he's owed something. And that what I'm saying is that comes down to the fact that they can't take in criticism now.
Right.
And and because they're weak mentally, because they think that they don't make mistakes at home, they don't make mistakes anywhere, that they can't take that in. Now, I also agree that it's situational in the sense that kid should have said with the passing thing. That kid should have said, "Oh, you want to tell the story first?"
Yeah. So I mean, we've had players, and this isn't like a very specific story because it's happened how many times? You know, a player on the other side of the field isn't seen by his teammate with the ball. That player with the ball loses possession, you know, start counterattack, goal, whatever happens in that situation, and the kid on the other side of the field that wasn't seen is now screaming over to his teammate that he should have passed the ball to pick his head up and look at him. And, you know, it wasn't done. Typically it's not done in like a super negative way. I mean, like agitated maybe. But I think there's a difference between calling someone out for not giving you the ball because you think that it was going to improve and help the team versus like egomaniac, you're an idiot because you didn't give me the ball.
But I think that's coaching at halftime. And what I mean
agree.
by that, don't take either of them off. Let it go. And what you do is that, okay, say the kid's name is John and Rick. I know that's a terrible name, but Rick, right? John is the one dribbling. Rick is the one. Rick is the one. I think it's old school. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Rick is the one yelling. And what I mean is that they're never going to learn until they do everything in game. So when they come off the field, you go, okay, Rick. Rick's the one yelling, right? I said. So Rick, you yelled at him for not passing you the ball. Okay, valid point. Should have picked his head up. He lost the ball. John, you should have at times picked your head up. And then I said the communication part. Was the kid saying pass the ball?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So kid saying pass the ball. He said pass the ball, so he did his job. Pass the ball, he's wide open. You lost the ball. Now, Rick, understand this. If you're yelling at him because he didn't pass you that ball, just know that you better be able to take it if you're doing the same thing and he yells at you for not passing the ball. And that's what I'm talking about coaching. Don't take the kid off right away. He's not learning anything. And that kid's not learning anything about criticism.
Right.
What you do is you tell him, you should have absolutely saw him because he communicated. You should have picked your head up. That's your trigger.
Right.
But then also realize the other way around that kid, like we did. I gave you stick. You gave me stick. I can't get on you unless I allow you to get on me.
Of course.
I might argue the point of you getting on me.
Yeah, no, I think the issue here,
Yeah.
and I think we would all completely agree with you. I think the issue though is, you know, when that player's screaming for that ball, at what point, like, would you feel like at some point that player might have gone over the line?
Right? Yeah, because I don't know the way he screamed that. Exactly.
So now,
I
now,
think
he's like,
the issue.
I'd be like, stop whining.
Right,
now,
that's
here's,
what the
now,
issue
now
is,
this
yeah.
is where, and like speaking as a player, you know, because first and foremost, we were players first and became
Right.
coaches. So speaking as a player, and knowing you as a player and playing together a little bit, I mean, we embrace people that towed the line a little bit there too.
Mm-hmm.
You
But
know,
that's the
like-
way. That's the way. I know your dad was a nice, very nice man, but that's the way I was raised, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's just you know what I
Well,
mean. And it
that's-
still is to this day,
And
like
that's
how I am.
but that's the environment that we're used
Mm-hmm.
to, but also it was the environment that we were inserted into as players.
Right.
You know, that
Yeah.
was embraced
the
typically.
old school coach.
You know, like there could be arguments, of course, that one of us takes it too far at times, and that's when coaching comes in.
and that's also a learning experience for yourself, though, isn't it?
Of course, yeah.
But don't you think that stinks? Like the fact that like it's hard for us because we're coaching now at a different time period where parents are parenting differently.
I
Right.
hate it. I
And
hate it.
I
think
hate it
it's-
too. I hate. I
It
literally. I
totally
hate the
is
strong
different
word, but
than
I
my
hate
mentality.
it. And it stinks because I think that's an overall problem. Let's say what's going on in the country where like it's everybody's given like participation medals and everybody. And what I mean though is that us parenting and us having to coach a little softer, is it really aiding the development of American players? Like we were talking about, is it? We've gotten worse.
I mean, look, I know I was talking to Travis about this. I have my moments where I might unfortunately rip one of my players apart for something. It's
Good for you.
usually not.
Yeah.
It's usually not often like soccer related, right? Like I had a kid one time that I won't forget it. Extremely quiet, very conservative, just very to himself. Like he just wouldn't talk ever. He's someone that you ask for his name, like he'll be very reluctant to answer you because he doesn't want to talk. And he was like 16 years old,
Yeah,
I know.
gotta-
And we won our first game of the season. We won 2-1. It was a very close game. We were fighting it, and it was a very close game. We won 2-1, but there was a moment in that game where he was wide open, and he didn't ask for the ball, so the kid with the ball couldn't find him.
Right.
And I literally spent the post-match, meeting, you can say, just ripping this kid apart for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And all the kids were like, I think you need to apologize to him. Like, that was like, you really went off on it. And it was bad. I'm not gonna lie, it was bad.
But this is
that
you
kid,
being a coach versus
right? And that kid, was able to talk for the rest of the season, joking around and everything, and had a great time. So I totally agree with you on that. I'm not against.
But don't you think you were teaching him more of a life lesson thing rather than
Yes,
a,
yes, and
which,
that's-
which
soccer
is
thing?
and
which
that's
is
the
us
same
as coaches,
kid.
no?
That's the
Because
same-
Yeah.
how many players
Right.
that we have truly
But here's the point I'm
develop
trying to
into
make.
And that's-
professional.
Right.
And that's
And
what
here's
I
the
say,
point I'm
Mike.
trying to
But
make.
they're all going to be people.
Yeah.
Right. And this is the point I'm trying to make.
That's
Like
a good point.
halfway through the season, this kid's going for like a backheel goal, and just like very confident now, right? But the thing is, I don't think I would have wanted. Yeah, I might have turned him into Balotelli.
Too much confidence.
I don't think I would have wanted him to be ripped apart though by a teammate. Is my point.
Would you
Do you
would,
see what I'm
would
trying
you
to say?
would
I
you
don't
have
think I
rather
would've
ripped him
wanted
in
that.
private rather than
No,
in front of the team?
I think me doing it in front of the team is what made him change.
I like it. I like
Right.
it in front of the team.
Right.
I
I think
like
that's
it because that's life.
Well, that's also like the players now know. Also,
I
like the
totally
players,
agree with
the
that,
players
yeah.
also knew though that like I'll do that for anybody.
Yeah,
anybody.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I was
Which
very
is
fair,
important.
right?
Yeah.
But I don't think, and I will stand by this. I don't think I would have wanted his teammate to have done that, and I think that's where the conversation really is.
But
But
it
that's
depend-
also building a team, though. That's
it's-
great for hearing that from your players
right,
that got rallied behind their teammate.
right. That was good.
Yeah,
right.
but
It's always good learning. That's
but
what
we-
people always see the negative. I see that right away, and I'm
Right.
like, that's a great
Right.
team experience.
It is
Exactly.
But
And
would I
maybe you're
ever-
like, holy,
Teams,
you're like,
teams
crap.
that
Right.
suffer together, right, end up being the
Yeah.
closest.
Yeah.
And don't get
Teams
me
that go
wrong,
through it.
that player and I are still close, obviously. Like
Yeah,
he's
sure,
someone I
yeah.
could hug after yelling. But would I have wanted one of his teammates to do that? I wouldn't have. I don't know how you guys.
But
feel. I
no,
wouldn't
well,
have.
but that's different because I'm talking about
Because that kid
like,
with the ball could have ripped him apart.
like I would
Yeah, true,
never I
true.
would never have yelled at Joey for, well, first of all, there's zero lack of confidence, be sure about that, but I never would have ripped Joey for a lack of confidence or something as a teammate. That's a coach's job, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
yeah.
but I would rip Joey for not giving me the ball and then losing it.
Oh,
That's
heck yeah.
different.
And I gotta
That's
take
different.
that. I gotta take that though.
Yeah, and
That's
and
almost-
listen,
I take it now that I'm out
listen-
of shape.
Yeah, and
But you know,
listen,
it's
same.
funny 'cause when you
That's why
talk-
I'm like retired.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's again, like the reason I think you have to be careful as a team, like as a coach, you're recognizing players' personality.
Yeah.
Like I also knew.
Yeah,
And
well,
I'm
also-
learning that now, and
Right.
I'm learning like
It's hard.
probably
Right,
should
right.
have done that to
It's hard.
to
that
John.
player, right?
Yeah,
like I
definitely
may
should.
not have, like if I had to react, I knew I could react that way to that kid.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to break him out so much from his shell, and I worked with him for a month already.
That's the hardest part.
But as a teammate,
You don't want to see that.
No, it's not that you don't want to see that, but as a teammate, you're not educated enough to know how that kid might react.
Yeah.
You're a kid. Even at 15, you're not gonna think
But like
this
Joey
is the kind
said,
of
it's part of the learning, though.
Right,
You
right,
see,
but-
when
but as a
if you
player-
don't do it, you don't know.
right. But as a teammate, you're not gonna think this is the kind of player I could scream at. This is the kind of player that I need to kind of like.
That's true.
But
But now-
also see, the thing is, I like I like your thing about it. Like, you ripped him. And the reason why I say that is because, okay, this is what I say to I have a good Roxbury team. Very good Roxbury team, man. And I just wish, like, something would just come out of them, right? But I tell them all the time, your mentality in training, the way you go about training, your effort towards training is not about becoming the best soccer player.
Right.
It's about becoming the best person, and I'm leading you on to success in the future.
Right.
Because of the fact, like you said, they're not maybe one might be a professional, might go on to do big things in college.
Which is unlikely.
So what I try to tell them is, and I tell the parents I said, the way I go about them, the way I coach is not always about soccer. It's about life. And the fact is that respect, this is what I think respect is too, like, that kid's not obligated to respect me. And I think it was a big thing when I was young, that coaches thought, like, oh, you just have to respect me, or adults think, like, you just have, no, if you disrespect that kid has every right to disrespect you back, because respect is not age driven.
Right.
It's just
but
what it is.
I think we're in the minority, by the way, thinking that, because we all just nodded in agreement. I totally agree with that.
I think
most people disagree.
And I think it's a massive problem, is that, like, when I was younger, they'd be like, oh, Joey's disrespectful. Like, no, but what'd you say to him? And my dad would be like, what'd you say to him? And they said, like, you can't say that to him. Of course he's gonna, like, I was so passionate, man. Of course I'm gonna react.
Right.
And it's one of those things, like, I love when a kid comes at me again.
Right.
Heck yeah, man, because I just drove something out of it. I drove the fact that he was strong enough will to believe in what he believed in. And then maybe we get into a conversation about it.
But see, this is the funny thing, though. Like, again, just hearing about you two and how you guys kind of reacted to things, certain players would not have made it with you guys, with the mentality. And
they never did.
But hold on.
That's
But
what I
we
was
talk
going to say.
about.
We're talking about high level.
You know what?
Hold on.
I know.
Lower
And
level
I'm
teams.
glad you brought that up, because you can't tell me every high level player has that mentality.
Heck no.
Hold on.
But every high level player has to be okay with being part of that environment.
I don't know if that's true, and I'm going to give you a really great example, actually. When Jose Enrique...
We'll decide if it's really great.
Okay. When Jose Enrique first went to Barcelona, right? After Pep Guardiola left, he wanted to switch Messi's position during practice.
Yeah.
Messi was really upset about it.
He hates Messi.
I don't hate Messi.
You hate Messi.
I dislike Messi. I'm going to tell you... Can I finish the story?
Keep going.
He did not show up to practice the next day. And Xavi and Iniesta went up to Jose Enrique saying, you can't talk to Messi that way. Like, you can't just change his position without, like, talking to him about it.
Messi, you play where I put you.
But if Joey ever coaches you. But the point I'm trying to make is, Messi was clearly one of those players where you couldn't just talk to him however you wanted.
It's the reason why he has never won a World Cup or a Confederations Cup, because he's weak mentally. Telling you.
Can I say something? That's a great point,
I'm
Joey.
telling you.
Hold on, that's a sick point.
I love him. I love him more than Ronaldo, to be honest with you. But I think that's...
And Ronaldo could get ripped apart, by the way. And Man U got ripped apart daily.
But that's my thing, is, like, that's the thing with players nowadays. The same thing. I'm an Arsenal fan, massive Arsenal fan. It's happening at Arsenal. Ozil gets away with whatever he wants to get away with, and he hides like a little baby in big games. Not acceptable.
Thanks for using the word baby, by the way. I know where
you're
going.
We all felt where it's going. Yeah, I use baby. I use the right B word.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a baby, and he doesn't show up in big games. I don't care what anybody says. Big pundit about his assists. It doesn't matter. Anybody can have assists against St. Mary's School of the Blind. Okay, so you know what I mean. So my point is that Alexis Sanchez shows up mentally to every single game. He was the only one trying to get on the ball at Sutton. He was the only one trying to do something. And my point is that it's a manager's job. Okay, and this has come from the front office. If Luis Enrique comes in there and he wants Messi to play a different position, guess what, Messi? You're playing a different position. I don't care how much money you're paid. That's levels, right? It goes players, manager,
before we continue, because we're just about out of time, we're gonna do a part 2 and continue the conversation, which I knew was gonna happen.
But I think that's very baby-like for Messi, and it's very unprofessional, and it
I
doesn't
do want
set
to
an
continue
example.
that, because you made that very point.
Let's keep this in mind.
I didn't know that story.
We're gonna pick up there.
I try not to deal with that drama, but
of
players.
All right, watch part 2.